It was interesting because like you get there and you park and you can already, you see a few Clevelandites or whatever you would call them, you see them outside hanging around and then you get inside and it's interesting because you don't always realize some people are homeless. I mean, some are easy to spot just from growing up in the media and also seeing people in my city. You know what the typical homeless person kind of looks like. But there was other people there who were not typical, and that was a little surprising too. And I think that opens up some people's eyes to realize that it's it could be anyone. You're never sure.
On the fourth week of March in 2013, a group of 13 people, creative students and faculty member chaperones of Edinburgh University, traveled to Cleveland, Ohio as a part of the alternative spring break trip. When most students talk about spring break, we tend to have the mental image of a beach with the sand between our toes. This group of individuals had a different plan. Their week of spring break would consist completely of volunteering. They spent many days at the Ronald McDonald House cooking food for the families staying for a duration of time, but also spent time at the Bishop Cosgrove Drop-In Center, downtown Cleveland.
The largest day drop-in center in downtown Cleveland.
After just a few months of being at the Drop-In Center, Miss Wilder is a very familiar face to those who attend. She is the sole provider when it comes to managing the food distribution.
Daily up to maybe $275, maybe $300, sometimes it depends.
Because the Drop-In Center hosts so many people during breakfast and lunch, having volunteers is key to keeping everything running smoothly. Many of their volunteers are those who are served by the Drop-In Center. Being a part of different organizations that help them live a prosperous lifestyle, they have to serve community service hours at the center. Though this is a majority of the people that help, other groups, like the one from Edinburgh University, volunteer for the pure reason of knowing they are helping others.
I guess I wasn't expecting so many meals to be served because the center seemed to be very small in size. The building altogether was relatively big, but the center the part that we were in, the dining hall, it was maybe 5 or 6 rows deep. Not very many seats for the people, and we were constantly putting meals in and out.
Tom Savitsky is one of the students that attended the alternative spring break trip through Edinburgh University.
We went through about 100 to 150 trays, and then after we were done with all the trays, we moved on to paper plates, and I knew we sent out another 50 plates, definitely, and then the rest of the food was used for leftovers afterwards. But it was just amazing how many people were coming in through there throughout the day.
The Bishop Cosgrove Center is welcome to anyone. They do not discriminate against gender, age, the handicapped, or those with mental disorders. They are open to those who need to eat and are willing to work with them in whatever way possible.
Is there a large age range of the people that you see here?
It varies.
It varies.
It's more males than females. It's handicap, we service everyone, mental, young population, and everyone that comes here is not homeless.
Those on the trip were greatly affected by the volunteer work that they did. Some more than others, but each individual walked away with a rewarding experience. Corey Roberts McGrath did just that.
Well, my specific role, I helped out in the back with the food pantry part because it was split up into two. It was they handed out meals, but you also put together packages of food for families in need that they could take home with them. So there were hot meals, but there was prepared food too, packaged food for them to take.
It wasn't just about volunteering for Corey. You could tell that she was there for a reason, and that she was passionate about the work that she put in at Bishop Cosgrove Center. I didn't find out until much later as to why.
Well, I have been in that position where I did need food, and I grew up and I did have my dad and our family, we were in need and we didn't have enough, so we did go to food pantries before, and then growing up, we moved into middle class and did have food, so I kind of know what it is like, and I also did it here in Edinburgh too a few times, just last semester when I had no extra money whatsoever to feed myself. So, it's nice to give back and kind of complete that cycle, because sometimes you do feel guilty taking food that isn't necessarily what you earned, if that makes sense. And so giving back, it almost feels like it's not just all take.
At the Bishop Cosgrove Center, many of the volunteers that are working at one time were recipients of the same food that they were serving. After talking to Corey, she gave some insight as to why she thought they were there to help.
I think, too, that you'll see that as a common factor. People who were once homeless or were once poor and not able to, feed themselves, or what they would call welfare families, a lot of times they give back. So, and that's not always recognized.
At the end of the day, the group from Edinburgh University walked away knowing that they had made a difference. When different members of the group were asked, they all expressed how much they wanted to go back to the Bishop Cosgrove Center and volunteer again.
I think something that people don't realize is when you give, you receive. Because it's like with love, you can't just take love, you have to give it in order to receive it. So it's like, if you're willing to receive help, be willing to give help. And if you're willing to give help, receive help. It's a reciprocal thing, and it doesn't all happen at once, but eventually one day you might need that help. And doing what you can now to help those who really need it is really an eye-opening experience, but also a really rewarding experience.
As Margaret Mead once said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has."